Hello everyone, Basic Ollie here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be talking about tips and tricks on iRacing, not like the ones we did about 8-9 months ago, the unknown tips. Today we're going to be talking about more about the sweaty things on iRacing, stuff that gives people the competitive advantage, and sometimes you just sat there thinking to yourself, how have they beat me? How have they done that? What is going on? Is there something that I don't know about? Well, I've been playing this sim for about 5 years now, and in those 5 years, I've picked up a few hints and tips along the way. Now, I did the previous video about 6 unknown tips you might not know about, but in this one, we're going to talk about the really sweaty stuff. Just stuff that the top guys, the top boys and girls will do that you won't even realise, but it does give you an advantage. So I've got six tips for you today that should hopefully help you out. You might not know about it, fingers crossed you don't, and if you do, you can let me know in the comments what you think and whether it's actually good information to spread. But yeah, sit back, relax, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this video will give you a little bit more of a competitive advantage and make you feel a little bit more sweaty in the sim. Okay, so where I'd like to start this video off is with the pits. Now, the pits in iRacing are crucial, of course. Any sort of real-life race, the pit stops are absolutely essential to get right and do it quickly. Now, it's no different in the sim, especially when it comes to iRacing, and there are a few different things you can do to make your pit stop a little bit quicker. So we're going to go through those firstly in this video. And the first thing we'll do is actually show you the difference between using your pit limiter and not using your pit limiter, because you'd actually be surprised how much time you can gain by simply not using the pit limiter. In the newer cars, the pit limiter seems to work quite well. It is on the button, but on some of the older cars, it's a little bit all over the place. Even this Porsche here, it kind of flickers between 59 and 60 kilometers an hour. And on iRacing, you seem to be able to just marginally, and I mean marginally, go a little bit quicker than what the pit speed limit is. And I'm going to show you an example of that right now. So I'm going to go through the pits with the pit limiter on, full throttle, and we're going to have a total time. Then I'm going to go through the pits with the pit limiter off, 1 kilometer an hour over the speed limit, and you're going to see the difference. And listen, it might not be much. It could just be a tenth, maybe 2. But it can make a difference. It really, really can. And it's, you know, it sounds very sweaty, but that's kind of what this video is. You need those kind of little sweaty things to know about an iRacing to gain a little bit of an advantage. So we're going to go through the pits now. I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so going into the pits at Fuji, we're in a Porsche 911 GT3. Nice and steady. We won't start the time until we've actually crossed the pit line here. So full all the way down. Now, as you can see, you're doing about 60 to 59 constantly, okay? So it's not staying at 60. It's flick between 59 and 60. Plus, we're not kind of taking the mick with what we're allowed to do. So you can do 61. Sometimes you can do 62 if you're lucky, and you don't do it for too long. So we'll finish this pit stop here, or this drive-through, and you can see what the total time is now as I cross the line. Okay, now we're going to do it again, except this time, we're not going to use the pit speed limiter, okay? And you're going to see what I mean, all right? So we will not start the timer until we cross that white line. So we've gone over a little bit, saying slow down, but that's okay. Going over a little bit. Yeah, staying at 61. I'm going to do my best to stay there now. You know, it's not easy. You can easily speed, but it's, again, it's a sweaty thing to do, but it can make the difference. So I'm not dropping below 60. I'm staying at like 61, 62. As long as you don't take the mick, you should be fine. And it should make a difference. And you're going to see that time difference now as we cross the line here. Next up, let's talk about something quite specific, and it is very specific to the LMP2, and that is using the clutch to get away quickly from your pit box. Now, just like in real life, the clutch is used to get away from the pit box quicker than if you just put it in first gear and tried to pull away. So what I'm going to show you boys and girls now is exactly what you need to do to get a quick getaway from the box in the LMP2, and it does make quite a significant difference. Now, for this to work, please do make sure you map a second clutch, okay? Now, you can do that in the settings. If we go to options and then controls, you will find an option for a second clutch, which is just here. Make sure you map that. You'll probably need another flappy paddle or a clutch if you've actually got one. Make sure you map that, and then I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get away with a good start out of the pits. Have a look at this. Okay, let's see. Here we go. We're going to go and enter the pits here at Fuji in the LMP2. We just slow down to enter the pits here. Now I'm going to change all 4 tyres. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the difference between just getting away normally and using the clutch, because it's quite a significant difference. So we'll just get to our pit guy here. How's everyone been doing? You been doing all right? Weather's been good. Anyways, now we're finally here. So we'll wait for him to put the car on the jacks. So we'll change all 4 tyres, and then you're going to see just how slow the getaway really is, to be honest with you. It's not particularly great, and yeah, you're losing a lot of time by not using the clutch technique. You'll probably need to use about, I think, around 50 to 60% of the clutch. You see, quite slow, as you can see, like that. Not great. Now, let's do that again, except this time we're going to use the clutch. All right, so we're going to enter the pit again. Nothing's changed. An active reset, so we're doing exactly the same sort of pit stop. We'll get all the way to the end here. Q editor speeding this bit up, and we're back in the room. Right, okay, so pull up to our pit box, stop here. Now what you're going to do is I'm going to leave it in first gear. I'm going to put it about 60%. Now, as it's about to drop down, I'm going to put my foot all the way down on the throttle. Again, leave it about 60, 70%. So I'm going to leave it like that. Clutch still at about 67%, and then as soon as it drops, just ease off like that. You see how much quicker that was? So much quicker. So if you race the LMP2, definitely recommend doing that. It's super easy to do and can save you a lot of time in the pits. So map your clutch, save yourself a lot of time in the pits, and it's just free time for absolutely nothing for mapping the clutch. It's easy. Okay, for this one, now this is probably the sweatiest one, I'll be honest with you. And I don't really know how many of you are going to use it, but it's a tip and people do it. So let me try and explain this one. This one is about when you're in fixed races, okay? And you're doing a full formation lap. Now, generally in fixed races, you start with a lot of fuel. Just fuel you're never going to use because it's like a 15, 20-minute race. For example, this is a 20-minute race at Watkins Glen, GT3 fixed. We're in the BMW and we're starting with 50 litres. Now, what I'm going to show you is how to actually burn some extra fuel for free, so your car's lighter. Yeah, it's quite the tactic. I don't think many people use it, but I don't know how much of a difference it'll actually make across the race, but it's worth giving it a try. So this is more about just burning as much fuel as you can in GT3 fixed before the start of the race. So as you can see, we're going through a formation lap right now. Like I said, starting with 50 litres, all right? Now, we're going to skip through this bit, and then you're going to see how much fuel I have left by the end of the formation lap. Okay, so as you can see, we're coming to the end of the formation lap, and this is just driving like normal. So once we cross the line, we'll have a look with how much fuel we actually have left. So we've gone green. So we've crossed the line here, and we've got just about over 48 litres of fuel. So we've burnt actually less than 2 litres. Now what we're going to do is a pretty sweaty tactic. What we're going to do is in this next formation lap, we're going to use the pit limiter. And I know that sounds strange, but you'll see what I mean in just a second. Okay, so this time we're going to do exactly the same thing again, except we're going to use the pit limiter. Now, I know that sounds a bit strange, but you're going to see exactly what I mean, because what you can do with the pit limiter on is use 100% of the throttle. And using 100% of the throttle in iRacing means you're burning as much fuel as possible. So just keep going on and off, on and off. And your car will eventually slow down, obviously, because you've got the pit limiter on. But at no point am I taking my foot off the throttle. Now, this is very sweaty, and it will only take off, what, an extra 2-3 litres. But, you know, a lighter car, better performance, right? And as you saw previously, when I wasn't doing this tactic, I had 48 litres. But at this point right now, I'm down to 48, and I've only really just gone past turn 4. So my fuel usage has dramatically increased. Now, I don't know how cheeky this is, or if it's against a sporting code or anything like that. I can't see how it is, but people do it. It's something people do, and it just burns a lot of fuel. Whether it'll ever get fixed, I don't know, but at the end of the day, whilst iRacing has it so that your throttle position is basically how the fuel's used, this is a really cheap and easy way to burn excess fuel. And what we'll do now is we'll skip ahead to the formation lap, and you'll see how much extra fuel I've burned by just simply doing this tactic. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the formation lap, and I didn't quite realise just how much excess fuel I was going to burn and how much extra fuel I was going to burn compared to just doing it normally. So we're going to start the race here, and when we cross the line, what do we have? Just over 48 litres last time. This time, 43.3. So almost, what, 5 litres extra fuel by doing this tactic. Now, it seems to be quite a strong one. It has been known, and people have been doing it, but yeah, I mean, it is cheeky, but I don't think there's anything against it, unless someone wants to tell me otherwise. But yeah, quite strong, wouldn't you say? So there you go. There's tip number 3. Make sure you use your pit limiter on a full formation lap in fixed races, because you can burn a ton more fuel. And yeah, have a lighter car for the rest of the race, essentially. Okay, so the next tip I'm going to talk to you about, is actually using overlays and actually just optimizing them for endurance racing and pretty much any sprint, to be honest with you. Now, I'm going to give an example of this, of a race I did a couple of weeks ago. 2 hour and 40-minute race around Fuji. I'm in a Porsche 911 GT3. Okay, now the way I have my overlay set up, and this is something I would definitely recommend that you boys and girls do as well, is I have a box for my fuel. So as you can see here in the bottom right hand corner, I see how many laps I've got left, my fuel average the last 10, and I've also got this little refuel thing here that tells me how many litres it thinks I'm going to need till the end, and that is absolutely crucial. So now, having a look at this, I know my car has a 100-litre fuel tank, okay? Now, if I put another 100 litres in, that means my last pit stop is going to be just 36 litres. Now, to change all 4 sets of tyres on the Porsche 911 GT3, it's around 46 litres. So if I wanted to change tyres in the pits for the last pit stop, I'd be waiting, because I've already put the fuel in and I'm just waiting for the tyres to change. Makes no sense. So what do? It's quite simply, you split the fuel strategy. So by having this set up in iOverlay and seeing that I only need 136 litres at the end and my car has 100 litres, it is way better to split the strategy down the middle. So in this race, I go 70 litres. All right, so we're going to skip ahead. Now look at this column in the top left. As you can see, my pit stop is shorter than pretty much everybody else. So my pit stop here is 1 minute and 1 second. Compared to the next driver, 1 minute 6, and then we've got the other boys and girls, which have done a full tank, 1 minute 11, 1 minute 13. Now, because they've done that, their last stop now means if they do put a fresh set of tyres on, they're just going to be sat there because the fuel's already done, because they only need to put about 36 litres in. So they will just be sat there, and it's a waste of time. So it is way better to just cut your fuel strategy in half. As long as you are over that fresh mark of 46 litres. As long as you're past that, you're absolutely fine. And one other crucial thing as well. In the top left-hand corner here, you'll see it tells me my total lap time. So how many laps it expects me to do in that race. Now, this will change constantly throughout the race as the GTPs do different lap times. They overtake us and they go for pit stops. Now, it's absolutely crucial you keep an eye on that, because when it comes to the last stop, you can potentially do a lap less of fuel because you know it's going to drop down. So, for example, at the moment, it says 95.71, which basically means it's going to be 96 laps. We've got an hour and 24 minutes left, so the GTPs more than likely are going to have to pit at least twice. So that is going to bring the total race time in terms of laps down probably by at least 1. So when it is now telling me that I need 68 litres to get to the end, realistically, it's probably going to be more like 66, which doesn't sound like much, but, you know, it's 2.5 litres saved in the pit stop because you don't need to worry about it. So it's absolutely crucial that you have, for me personally, have a lap counter in the top left-hand corner of your overlay, just saying what the predicted laps it's going to be, and keep an eye on that, especially in the endurance race, and just know that it is going to go down. And make sure that you have a fuel box somewhere on your screen that you can use to see how much fuel you've got left. It's absolutely crucial, so know what your full fuel tank is and how long it takes to change all 4 tyres, because it can make a big difference. It certainly helped me in this endurance race, and it really got me a big advantage in this first pit stop, because I got 5 seconds short of pit stop on this one, and I got a fresh set of tyres at the end, whereas half the lobby here didn't really realise that, and they were waiting an extra 4 or 5 seconds in the pits for their extra 10 litres or brand new tyres and whatnot. So definitely recommend doing this. It's more of an obvious tip, but it really does make a big difference. So those 2 things here, just making sure that you've got it set up so you can see how much fuel it recommends it's going to take to get to the end. Start calculating it nice and early, and make sure you're using the top left-hand corner as well. Make sure you've got like a lap counter in the top left-hand corner, or wherever you want to put it, just so that you know how many laps there's going to be to the end of the race. And it really can make a big difference, like it did for me in this race. And yeah, it gave me a big gap. Just let me concentrate, got my head down, and we won the race because of it. So the next tip for this one is, without a doubt, make sure you set up your overlays, make sure you get your fuel right, and yeah, can make a big difference in your endurance races for sure. Okay, next tip is actually quite similar to the previous one, and that is essentially just planning your strategy for an endurance race. Now, easiest way to do this, I think personally, is if you are planning to do an endurance race at the weekend. Let's just take IMSA Endurance Series for example. Let's just say you are going to do the 7 p.m. slot, but you're not quite sure how many laps that race is going to be. Your best bet, this is quite handy, is to look at the previous split. So this is 8 a.m. Now look at the splits. There's 3 splits. Try and aim for the split that's similar to your iRating. So we're going to have a look at this one here. Now, if you have a look, it is going to tell you the laps they did. So if we click on this here, 4.3K iRated driver, they did 105 laps in the end of that endurance race. Now, you could use that information to know how many laps you're going to be doing in your race and plan your strategy accordingly, because it can be quite difficult to take the average lap time with pit stops, blah, 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 to try and figure it out. This is a much easier, simpler way. It might not be accurate 100% of the time because, you know, things can change. Something might have happened in this race, but you can absolutely do it. And you could do the same for the LMP2. As you can see, the leader did 101 laps. And for the GT3 as well, they did 96 laps. It's a very, very handy tip. Nice and easy, this. Definitely look at the previous results, the earlier results in the day. Look at the total laps, and then you can kind of just plan your strategy for your endurance race as well. You've got a general idea of the total laps, and you can just kind of go from there, really. But really underrated tip, this one. Not the biggest tip in the world, but can make a big difference yet again. So definitely have a look at the previous results, and fingers crossed it can help you out when you're planning your next endurance race. Okay, and then lastly, what we're going to talk about here is kind of just information that is really, really handy. So a good tip is to know how long it takes to change all 4 tyres in a car that you're driving. Now, I'm going to focus on the IMSA cars specifically here. So the GT3s, the LMP2s, and the GTPs, because they do a lot of endurance racing, and many series they run require you to do a pit stop. Really handy information to have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pit stop in a GT3, an LMP2, and a GTP, changing all 4 tyres. Now, what you'll want to do is I'll pop how long it takes for those things to happen, so for all 4 tyres to change on those cars on the screen, but just jot those down, because when it comes to endurance racing and strategy, it's really important to know how long it takes to change all 4 tyres. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, like the Fuji video, it certainly helped me to win that race. So it's really, really important, and it's key information to know how long it actually takes to change all 4 tyres, because you kind of just plan a strategy around it. So for the last tip for this video is I'm going to pit in those 3 different classes of cars, and I'm going to pop up on the screen how long it actually takes to change all 4 tyres, and then you can plan a strategy around it. Okay, then let's go into the pits with a GT3 then, so at the Red Bull Ring. So you can see how much fuel I've got just on the bottom right-hand corner. So what we're going to do, we're going to begin fueling, and I'm going to change all 4 tyres, and you can see how much fuel it takes, or how much fuel you can put on changing all 4 tyres without losing any time. So the car goes up, we'll wait for all 4 tyres to go on, and then we'll see how long exactly that took. Took about 20 seconds, just over that. And we managed to change all 4 tyres, and we managed to put quite a significant amount of fuel in the car as well. Okay, so next up, we've got the LMP2. What we're going to do now is we're going to go in the pits, and we're going to see how much fuel you could put in whilst changing all 4 tyres and not losing any time. So we're heading to the pits now. Get that pit speed limiter on. We'll see exactly how much fuel you could put in the car whilst changing all 4 tyres and not actually losing any time. So the car will go on the jacks now. We'll see how much fuel we can put in the car, see whereabouts we are before we can basically just get away perfectly. We'll pop something on the screen in a few moments, and that will tell you how much fuel to put in the car without actually losing any time and being able to change all 4 tyres. So there you go. That is the LMP2. Okay, then lastly, let's do it in a GTP, shall we? So we're going to go in a Cadillac GTP here. So we're going to go into the pits, Red Bull Ring. The fact I've been able to do a full lap with cold tyres is quite an achievement for me, to be honest with you, without spinning. I've got all 4 tyres sticked. We've got as much fuel going in the car, but yet again, we're going to pit, and we're going to see how much fuel we can actually put in the car without sacrificing any time on track with changing all 4 tyres as well. So once again, car's been lifted up. And we're just going to wait for all 4 tyres to change here. And then we're going to just see how much fuel you can actually put in. It's just really good information to know. And then we'll summarise at the end of this just the GT3s, LMP2s and GTPs. But there you go. So car's down and all the fuel in, basically in that you can. Without losing any more time on the track. But yeah, handy information to have, especially if you're planning an endurance race. And then we have it, 6 tips for you boys and girls on iRacing. Sweaty kind of tips, the kind of things that people wouldn't really tell you about that might be able to help you in the duration of your iRacing career, shall we say. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe on the way out. And if you want a part 2 of this, so you want even more sweaty tips, just let me know in the comments, and I'll see if I can make a second one for you. But thank you so much for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you for the next one. Ta-da.